arrived in Stratford, the courtyard had just opened. And the Courtyard Theatre was the temporary space for the Royal Shakespeare Theatre. And I remember going in there and going, wow, this is an amazing space. And there was a real zing in that space when you stood on stage, when you sat in the auditorium. It was a real sense of being part of the show and the actors talking to you. That wasn't happening in the Civic Hall. And I'm thinking, why? Why are we here? How can we make a space happen in Stratford that is very much the home for amateurs, very much run by volunteers, and very much feels like a melting pot where people can come and produce the work that they would like to produce, and most importantly, have fun. And then we stumbled upon the building I'm sitting in at the moment. Reverend Graham Spicer at the time was the minister of the United Reformed Church, and we were introduced to him via the Town Trust executive at the time with a view to potentially creating some theatrical space within this building. We thought this space could probably work. We were told at the time that an average audience to see an amateur show is about 87 people. And when you've got 87 people in a 400-seater venue like the Civic Hall, that doesn't seem quite right. But if you could get 100 people in here, in this old Badminton Hall, and make it a versatile space, then you probably could do something rather exciting in here. That's the Bear Pit Theatre. It's a fabulous space. We had long conversations with the church. We had long conversations with the Town Trust, with the possibility of funding us. Those conversations went away, really, and we were left on our own to do it ourselves. And so after lots of fundraising and lots of daft events, and Alistair McGowan did a gig for us one night, and we then thought, how are we going to do this? How are we going to sustain this? We can't just keep doing fundraisers. And I said, well, why aren't we producing shows? In order for us to make this space work, we've got to produce a programme of work that sells. And that's when the Bear Pit Theatre Company started. So we started to bring in temporary things like seating, and we hired in lighting, and we started to bring in all these different elements to make a show possible in what still was a badminton hall. And after that first year of Bazaar and Rummage and Season's Greetings and other shows that had been produced that year, we thought we could really make a go of this. So the following year we said, yeah, this is the Bear Pit Theatre. This is the company that will ensure we have a rounded season of work, and a season of work that will raise enough revenue to support the work in the building, to pay all the bills, and more importantly, allow the space to be used by other theatre groups. And that was the key to it, because community was a very big thing at the time when we were talking about this, that those community groups didn't have a home. And so by allowing them to be part of this project, to make this space sustainable, and that's the key to it. The Civic Hall was becoming far too expensive to run. Other venues in the town were far too expensive to hire for various reasons. This was a space to be sustainable. This was a space that would be welcoming. This was a space that very much felt that all those groups could say, this is our home in the world of amateur theatre. Amateur theatre makers are making some magical stuff here.
The Bear Pit, I think, is a place for a lot of the community to come together, whether you're performing on stage or off stage. I think it's got a real heart and a soul to it. I think there's a lot of lovely friendships here, and I think it's a lovely little heartbeat to Stratford.
Well, I've been involved in one shape or way or form for the whole 10 years of its existence, and it's one of three sustaining things for me in Stratford in terms of fulfilling all the things that I enjoy doing, and theatre is one of those big things that I massively enjoy, and the Bear Pit is the dominant part, may I say the head of the RSC, in terms of my enjoyment and appreciation of theatre.
it's a delightful size. We found that the other main venue for us was too big. We couldn't command that right size of audience. It's too many seats. It was too big a venue. To have a 100-seater, it's just lovely. It's intimate, it's friendly, it's warm, incredibly supportive. All the people here who are interested and keen, they're people we know, they're friends. But to have this as a lovely little huddle in a nice building that works well, and we feel that the shows we do, if they raise money, we have put something into the equipment that goes in to make everything better, and it's just all rising all the time. We love it. Genuinely, we love it.
The thing I love about the Bear Pit is that it provides opportunity, massive opportunity. Drama is a team sport. No matter what people say, without all the people behind you, you are nothing. The Bear Pit gives us a massive pool of actors to choose from. It gives us a really, really dedicated, talented, hard-working backstage and support crew. It's the kind of thing that most amateur companies can only really dream about. As somebody who was involved with the Bear Pit from quite early on, I was particularly pleased to be asked to direct the first show of the 10th anniversary. It just goes to show how confident the Bear Pit is. So, to kick off this monumental season, they chose a really eccentric piece of drama. They allowed me to cast a relatively inexperienced cast, very, very young. 50% of the cast were teenagers. They gave us the necessary support and help to make sure that our production was a success. It's not very many companies that are confident enough to put on a piece of 1950s French absurdist drama at the beginning of the most important season that they are about to embark on. But the Bear Pit is that company, and it's that kind of thing that make me really, really happy to be involved with the Bear Pit.
Goodness, 9 o'clock. This evening, for supper, we had soup, fish, cold ham and mashed potatoes, and a good English salad. We had English beer to drink, and the children drank English water. We had a very good meal this evening, and that's because we are English, because we live in the suburbs of London, and because our name is Smith. You can say what you like, I don't care, but if you're saying that just to get my goat, well, I don't like that kind of joke. You know perfectly well that I don't.
Your guests, Mr. and Mrs. Martin, are waiting at the door. They were waiting for me. They were afraid to come in on their own. They were meant to be dining with you this evening.
Ah, yes. We were expecting them and we were hungry. As they showed no sign of coming, we went and dined without them. We'd had nothing to eat all day long. You shouldn't have gone off like that, Mary.
But you gave me your permission.
Well, we didn't give it on purpose.
I left the city of Manchester 5 weeks ago precisely.
How very extraordinary. What a strange coincidence. I too left the city of Manchester 5 weeks ago precisely.
Good day, all. Here goes. Have you, by any chance, a fire in the house? I'm very sorry, but please don't all look at me like that. You're making me nervous. You know how shy I am.
Oh, what a charming man you are.
Still, I will try to begin. but promise me you won't listen.
But if we don't listen, we won't hear you.
I'd never thought of that.
Oh,
what a dear boy.
Courage!
The snake and the fox. One day, a snake said to a fox,
I know you. Give me some money.
A fox never gives away his money, replied the cunning animal. And, running away, he leapt down into a deep valley full of strawberry bushes and hen's honey. But the snake was too quick for him and placed himself in front of the fox and gave a Mephistophelian laugh. Ah, ha, 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 ha! But the fox quickly extracted a knife from his bosom, gave a derisive peal of laughter, oh, ha, ha, turned his back and took to his heels. But the snake was too quick for him, and with a well-aimed blow of his fist, he struck the fox full on in the forehead and smashed him to smithereens, shouting as he did so, No, 99 times no, I'm not your bit of fluff. This isn't your proper place in here.
Oh, but it's not possible. It's you.
You too?
Impossible. Here in this house.
What on earth does all this mean?
Are you two friends?
And how? I am, in a funny sort of way, her spiritual son.
I'm so happy to see you. At last, at last.
Oh.
This really is too much. In our very own home, here, in the suburbs of London.
It's not a respectable.
She was the first flame to put me out.
I'm just his favourite little water spout.
A really fun place
It is,
to
yes.
come and muck about in the theatre.
Yeah, and it means we can both come together.
It allows me to express my cultural side and be part of the community and to be part of something professional.
Friendship, comradeship, lots of fun, and really being involved.
If you ask me what the Bear Pit means to me, it means really quite a great deal, actually, and what I like about it most is the fact that it is new and adventurous and a huge collaboration of like-minded people all in Stratford, and I just love all that, because my favourite book when I was a child was The Swish of the Curtain by Pamela Brown. And that was all about two brothers, two sisters, this little family, the Brown family, if I remember correctly. No, that was the name of the author, but whatever. And anyway, they all love different aspects of theatre, and they go out and they find this old building, this little wooden shed-like building along an ordinary street, and it's all falling down, and they say, ooh, if we could get this, we could do it up. And they do up this place, and they paint it blue, and they call it the Blue Door Theatre, and they invite people round. And because of that, I and my friends, we actually started up a little theatre group when I was 9 years old, and hired the local church hall and put on a tiny version of Cinderella, and everybody came to see it. And that really has been the stuff of my life. All of that about a little group of people getting together and doing something creative together and creating your own audience. And it was all so exciting when David came along, because he came, I think it was about 2008, he came along and auditioned for me at the Loft Theatre, and we were doing Alan Ayckbourn's Absent Friends, and David walked in this Sunday afternoon and was amazing, actually, and so he got the part naturally, and we just grew a friendship then. And at that point, Bear Pit didn't really exist, but there was this nascent group of Stratford folk who wanted to find a home, a better home for the arts than the Civic Hall could provide, because it's very big and it's very expensive. And they were trying to interest other local groups in getting together to do this. And he sort of said, would I like to join in with that? And I did. And after a couple of years, he actually sort of said, I don't know what we do now because some of the other groups aren't that interested in doing this. And I said, well, all this time you're doing this for other people, why don't you just perform? That you'd found this possible place at the back of the church, why don't you just actually get together and put on a play and see if that is possible? And he said, why don't we? And so that's how they started, and it was all done really on a wing and a prayer. And in fact, at that point, he just clutched at a name and called it Fruitcake. That's how it all started. And so, yes, I was still directing at other local theatres in Leamington. But gradually, David said, will you come and direct something? And so, yes, I did. And the first thing I did was Eightbourne Season's Greetings. And it was everything that I kind of had always hoped it would be, because a lot of the groups that I've worked with around here are all great, but they're all long established, they're all highly departmentalised. And so you never feel as if you are part of a one group of, if you like, friends and colleagues working together towards the same end. You've got to be begging people a year in advance to come and work for your play rather than somebody else's, and that can often be quite tricky trying to bring everybody together. But when you've got a group like Bear Pit, everybody's singing from the same hymn sheet. Everybody gets involved in every aspect of the work, and if they're not actually performing or building the set or doing the wardrobe, then they're working behind the bar and doing front of house, which has actually quite long since been lost in a lot of these other places. So that sense of community for me was really wonderful to find, that thing that the little girl in me still wanted to get in touch with. And yeah, so that's really what it means to me. So the latest thing is Habeas Corpus by Alan Bennett, and that's been a real bundle of fun, actually, because I was lucky enough to be able to cast really well, and it is incredibly funny, the play. It's one of Alan Bennett's earliest plays, and it was certainly his first, what he refers to as his first sex play, and that's really what the whole thing is about. It's that sort of 1960s view of middle-class Britain and their sex lives and their attitudes in general. And I know that some people don't think this is a play that should be done anymore because it is quite inappropriate. I don't know whether anybody knows the story about, Dr. Arthur Wicksteed, and he's a general practitioner from Hove near Brighton, and he can't, he's ageing and he doesn't fancy the rest of his life, living with his rather chubby, unsexy wife and all the rest of it, and it's how he can't stop himself fancying his female patients, and he's got a sort of his son Dennis, always he's a hypochondriac and a spotty teenager, and he's very depressed, and it's how each of them, how everybody resolves all their sexual problems with each other, and it's a complete farce really, and great fun. And as I say, I had a lovely cast. Everybody suited their roles very well. But I have to say that our leading lady, Mrs. Muriel Wicksteed, played by Pam Hickson, and Pam is such a dear petite lady. And it was very difficult for her to, she was saying, well, what do? I just don't look like this part. She has this wonderful voice, Pam, and that was all fabulous for Muriel. But yes, the body wasn't quite there. So we've had to produce a wonderful fat suit for her. And it was hysterically funny because every bit of her was not just larger than life, but it kind of like had a life of its own, and it would move around separately to the rest of her. So she was kind of totally pneumatic and wonderful. Yeah, that's going to go down well for a long time. Photos of Pam, they should be large on the wall. And of course we had fantastic costumes for it. What we tried to do was go right back to those seaside postcards from about not a particular age, but maybe 1914, for Sir Percy Shorter, head of the BMA, and then we had Mrs. Swab, the cleaner, and she was all sort of petite and rather like a sort of 1920s maid with the little hairband and everything. And then Muriel Wicksteed in a large red, white spotted dress. And it was, no, it was great. I absolutely loved it. And roll on, let's do many, many more.
They are wonderful. Wonderful.
You think so?
Outstanding. Outstanding.
Golly, appreciation after all these years.
And what a charming house. And don't they enhance it? The balance, dear lady, almost perfect. Almost, but not quite. Well, that's what I am here for. May I?
This is what they must mean by the permissive society.
I think one of them is a little bigger than the other.
Oh, hell, the symmetry. How that touch revives me.
It may not have escaped your notice that the client, Miss Wicksteed, is getting a little excited. As I had my little Polaroid handy.
Oh, I wondered when you were going to mention that. Your little Polaroid, your lovely little Polaroid.
Yes, well, a few snaps just for the record.
Oh, yes, yes, the record. Music.
Lucille is from Sydenham. Her hobbies are water skiing and world peace.
That's my magazine.
Someone hid it on top of the wardrobe.
Oh, if I had those, I wouldn't need hobbies.
No, dear. Send off this postcard and a beautiful bust can be yours this summer for only £5.
Well, that's £2.50 each.
False ones? Do you think so?
Well, I would if it were me, Connie.
I had just arrived in the colonies when I found I was Pregment. Pregnant!
They used to be so flat.
Can you tell?
You can tell.
Something tells me you're the person we've been looking for. Miss Wicksteed?
Yes.
Allow me. Striking without being indiscreet. Full without being vulgar. What a day. Would you care to go for a walk?
In the street, won't people stare?
As a striking woman, of course they'll stare.
Oh, I'll need different clothes, a larger fit. My hair ought to be different. My whole style.
Come, the world is waiting.
No doubt about it, Brett's palsy.
Brett's palsy? Oh, how terrible! How terrible, Felicity!
Do you know what that means? He wants me to tell him he's not going to die. You're not going to die. He is going to die. Come, let me clasp your urgent young body. Oh, kiss me. Oh, again! Oh, you earth maiden, will you marry me?
And I've only had them on 5 minutes. This must be what they mean by the permissive society.
But what is this? My bride to be in the arms of another man? And before we even married? Oh.
It's the end of the line for you, Arthur Wicksteed, a general practitioner from Brighton's Hove.
Oh, the shame, the disgrace, the poverty!
Finita la commedia, Arturo!
You're a busybody, and I can make her happier still.
Nobody can make me happier.
I can. I want to explain about Dennis.
Oh, no, Mrs. Swap, no.
Such a short time we have together.
Oh, but it isn't.
It's 3 months.
No.
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 Longer?
Yes.
No.
Much longer?
Much, much longer.
Much, much longer. You mean he isn't going to die after all?
strong as a horse.
Oh no! Is this on the National Health?
No! Why do you want to get married anyway?
Well, because I look up girls' legs.
Well, getting married won't stop that.
Won't it?
Well, I'm afraid not.
You mean you still do?
No, I'm a doctor.
Well, I still do, and I'm a clergyman.
Things that you didn't do. The promise broken, the meeting missed, the word not spoken, the cheek not kissed. Lust, was it or love? Was it hope, fake or true? Who cares now? Dying, you'll grieve for what you didn't do. The young are not the innocent, the old are not the wise, and unless you've proved it for yourself, morality is lies. So this is my prescription. Grab any chance you get, because whether you take it or you leave it, you end up with regret.
Oh, I think the Bear Pit is amazing. It means I've met so many people, friends, wife. No, I think I think the Bear Pit made me feel what's the word I'm looking for? Like you belong to something. Yeah. And that's, it's great. I love it.
I never come to a Bear Pit production without expecting and getting, as an audience, a quality performance that I really, really enjoy. And as a cast member, I know that I'm in safe hands. I'm going to get good direction, good production, high standards of rehearsal, and just a performance that will be brought out of me that I can be proud of.
The Bear Pit all came about in one of those idiotic moments when I was working with one of the local drama groups, and we were bemoaning the fact that the Civic Hall was under threat of closure. And we had nowhere to go. We all looked at each other and said, well, what do we do now? And I, like an idiot, stood up and said, well, we'll find ourselves a home in Stratford. And after everybody stopped laughing, we actually began to look seriously, and we looked at warehouses and ordinary houses. We looked everywhere, and of course there was absolutely nothing. And then the Town Trust introduced us to Reverend Graham Spicer here. And that was just, heaven sent. He was perfect. He wanted to fill his church. We wanted somewhere to perform, and the rest, they say, is history. It was just lovely. But my goodness, those early days when I think there were probably only about 5 of us working, David Mears, Anne Bowen, Jill Butler and I. We found ourselves making our own posters out of cardboard because we couldn't afford to have any printed. We were making scenery just out of bits and bobs. In fact, one of our very first productions here in this space, when we had nothing but a church hall, we did Bazaar and Rummage, which is all about a jumble sale. We had this wonderful idea, we've got our church hall, we'll run a jumble sale. So we ran a play which was about a jumble sale, and then in the interval we had a jumble sale. So people were bringing us so much stuff. We had piles and piles and piles of clothes and toys and books and jigsaw puzzles and everything. And we sold it in the interval. It was fantastic. It was so much fun, and people still to this day talk about how involved they felt with that particular production. Gradually, wonderful, talented people just came across our paths. I met Ginny Oliver, for instance, who has become our wonderful wardrobe mistress and general factotum. So the journey over the last 10 years has been phenomenal. But the 10th anniversary was such fun because we were doing so many plays at once. that you had people rehearsing in dressing rooms, rehearsing in the church, rehearsing on the stage, and all muddled up, and there weren't enough actors to go round, so people were involved in about 3 different productions at once. Nobody breathed. You just went from one show to show to show, and it ended up with that glorious production of Blackadder at the end, which was just magic. My part in it was in Habeas Corpus, which was huge fun. I've never actually had to wear a fat suit before. I've been in pantomime, but I was only the back of a horse. But actually, we found on the internet this sumo wrestler's outfit, which was this huge, great pink eiderdown thing, which Ginny sort of padded out. That was an extraordinary experience, suddenly being huge and having to act that way, but it was a lovely comedy and great fun to do. The Bear Pit has never stopped growing. I'm so excited that going forward, we've just had an intake of youngsters. We now have, a dozen youngsters who've come in enthusiastically. They're working on lights and sound, and they want to direct different ideas. They want to do new, inventive, exciting plays without sets even. I now see there is a way forward for the Bear Pit. It doesn't need grey-haired grannies. It can survive, which will be such a thrill to know that the space will go on and will thrive. It's very, very exciting.
It means quite a big chunk of my life, quite a lot of the time, doing sets and helping out with various things. Yeah, we've done loads of sets together in the Bear Pit, and it's met lots of lovely friends.
I think it's managed to bring local community theatre together because it's become such an important venue.
It was nice to be asked to direct Lilies at the Bear Pit. I've got great admiration for the Bear Pit and for everything that the guys have done in creating a lovely community theatre, nice space, and all the work that goes into putting a show on. So it's always been nice to be part of that. For 8 years, is it now? 9 years of being in staff and stage managing and being on stage and having lots of fun with that. So it was good to have the opportunity to do the other bit of it and direct a group of women in a story about real women during the Second World War and bring their stories to life and give voice to that and have, I suppose, free rein to create the show that we wanted to create with the team that we've got and pull in people that I like working with and had worked with before, as well as some new people with new ideas. And it was good to have the opportunity. And I think the Bear Pit is about that. It's about giving people the opportunity to come on board and try things out and experiment and explore and be part of something that is ever growing and ever changing and developing and having fun together. And it was nice to walk in today and another show is getting in and everybody's running around with suitcases and putting lights in and everything. That's the magic of creating a piece of theatre. So it's nice to be part of that.
One pair of shoes, one pair of gumboots, one hat, one green tie, one overcoat.
Not actually issued until 1943.
One Macintosh, two towels, one oilskin sou'wester, one red armlet, and a metal badge. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. Not a tear, but a cheer, make it gay. Give me a smile I can keep all the while in my heart while I'm away. Till we meet once again, you and I. Wish me luck as you wave me goodbye. This tiny lady looked me up and
house with those shoes on. My earnings has to hang them up on the peg, and you'll do the same.
So, I stepped carefully onto the very shiny lino, and the next thing I saw was his dog wearing knitted booties.
Out to the cow stable. A long building, lit by a hurricane lamp. Where about 20 cows were tied. I found the smell revolting.
Mr. Bainbridge, the farmer, called me down. I said, it's still bedtime!
Come on! Get yourself up!
So come down. No tea or anything. She was still in bed. He had a bucket. He gave me a bucket, and he took me down to this great big long shed. Yeah, come on. We got to the first cow. He sits down like this. He puts his cap ever so slightly to the side, puts his bucket between his knees. He got all of the cows underneath. He started doing this. I said I thought that come out of bottles in the shops.
Oh, you got lot to learn, Gilling. You come on, you come along here and have a try. One girl has to climb up on the stack and move the sheaves onto the machine with a pitchfork.
Another girl has to stand in a sort of well next to a drum with a knife attached to her wrist with a strap. She's called the band cutter.
The feeder catches the stirrup and cuts the top with a knife and flicks it back, cut the string and grabs the string by the knot.
You never wasted string.
We saw something fall into the next field.
Oh, go for it.
Did you see where that went? Where did it go?
Oh, no, you have to go for it. All right, Grace, calm down. I'm going.
Field! Did you see where he went?
I got it, girls. Hang on.
Come on.
I went a bit too
It's all very nice. There's still nowhere private to use it.
I married Jim.
We were able to have the church bells rung at our wedding. The first time they've been rung in peace since 1939. I felt as if the whole world was rejoicing just for me.
Back when life was black and white and not 1,000 shades of grey. A call went out for girls like us to join the WLA. To be alive at such a time meant living was intensified.
New tasks, new hardships, joy and pain distilled into a sense of pride.
We looked within ourselves and found a person we had never known, with qualities of inner strength and independence newly grown.
We worked long days till hands were rough and backs were sore, giving our all and finding strength each day to give a little more.
But rising in the morning mist and toiling in the summer haze, this time was ours, a job well done.
We will remember all our days.
You had to be there to know. We lived it.
The Forgotten Army.
I'd do it all again.
We do it all again.
Let's say goodbye with a smile, dear, just for a while, dear, we must part.
Don't let the parting upset you, I'll not forget you, sweetheart. We'll meet again, don't know when, don't know when, but I know we'll meet again some sunny day.
Well, I'm with two of the visiting companies. So to me, the Bear Pit is a lovely venue which we thoroughly enjoy working in. We find the facilities, as they evolve, are becoming really very, very acceptable. It's great. Long may it flourish.
I think what the Bear Pit to me is what I've recently realized is for many, many volunteers, especially ladies that come into the area or live in the area, that they want to be involved and they want to do something in the community, but they find that working in theater gives them the creative outlet that they want. Many of the volunteers do extra things. They just don't volunteer. They bring a talent with them, whether it's making things, sewing things, building things, painting things, all these wonderful creative ideas that come to the Bear Pit that just embellish and make us better than what we would ever be. It's all these talents. And recently we've had a really lovely influx of new volunteers. And again, they're coming for the very same reasons over and over, very similar and exactly the reason why I came to the Bear Pit. At the end of the play, we're like this little mini army team, and we put all this talent, whether it's backstage crew, technical crew, the actors themselves, and even the people that are doing the bar and the front of house. We all come together to build this wonderful, unique experience that's physical as well as emotional for us all. So now where I may not be on stage acting, I'm still part of that experience. Maybe I've got blacks on and I'm running for a prop in and out, and that's about the only way I've been on the stage. Oh no, I do take that back. I was an old lady once on Lady Killers, and that was brilliant. I enjoyed that. It's this creative, gigantic cake that we're all making that we can be proud of. And then on Get Out, it's all gone. But then we get to start making a new one. And since I get bored very easy, for me, it's the perfect thing, because now you're starting on a new project, something that's incredibly different. And so now you just switch your gears, and now you start thinking of all these things that you need to do and build and sew and get, and you're off and away doing another one. So I think personally that the Bear Pit for the community is fabulous, because first of all, it is Stratford-upon-Avon. Second of all, it really deserves to have a good community theater. And that's what Bear Pit does. It provides a solid atmosphere and an area for people who are professional, non-professional, people who are amateurs, people that come here and have never done anything. Everyone gets to learn, and everyone gets to be a part of that. And the more you're a part of it, the more skills you hone. And I'm just really happy because I had not done theater before, and so I learned an incredible amount. And I learned how to be quiet when I needed to be quiet, which for me sometimes can be difficult. Which is really the truth. Shh! Cut.
It means that the amateur theatre groups in Stratford have somewhere small and intimate to perform. So it gives us a choice, which is lovely. It's a very warm, friendly, welcoming place, and we love coming here.
Being part of the Bear Pit has actually enabled me to go back to the creative career I had before. So I originally worked as an actor, and when I got approached to act in something at the Bear Pit, and then got asked after that to direct, and then having done Dream at the RSC with the Bear Pit team, I was then encouraged to go back to directing, and I've actually picked that up as a professional career again. So without the Bear Pit, I would not be working as a professional director, and as a result of that, having been an assistant at the Swan Theatre here in Stratford. So I owe them this career, this second part of my life. Without the Bear Pit, this would not be happening. I directed the 39 Steps at the Bear Pit with a small group of 4 actors playing, I think it was over 40 characters if you count up all the little voices and various things that were happening. And we had brilliant fun. Absolutely, it's the most perfect play for a small studio space like the Bear Pit has, and we built different levels, and because we have to take people from the hanging off the Forth Bridge to inside a flat to running across the moors, and we were able to sort of stretch a few elements of that, so used video and with a little bit of film from the original 39 Steps to a biplane flying over the moors, just using sound, light, lots of smoke, and brilliant actors, and using props in very interesting ways. Let's put it that way. The audiences seemed to love it. We had lots of lovely people going, "Oh, so where are you on tour next to?" And we'd actually go, "No, we're the Bear Pit. We're an amateur company. This is what we do here."
No one would miss me. I wouldn't miss me. I could quite easily just... And then I thought, wait a minute, come on, Hannah. Pull yourself together, man. Find yourself something to do, you bloody fool. Find yourself something mindless and trivial. Something utterly pointless. Something... I know. A night out at the theatre. That should do the trick.
What was Napoleon's horse called?
What was Napoleon's horse called? Napoleon's horse was called Bellerophon. What he rode for the final time at Waterloo, June 15th, 1815. Am I right, sir?
Quite right, Mr. Memory!
Thank you!
Thank you! Now look here.
Yes.
Am I allowed to know your name?
You do not want to know my name.
Don't I? Schmidt! Schmidt?
Annabella Schmidt.
So what's the story, Annabella Schmidt?
Mr. Hannah.
Yes?
May I be very impertinent for a moment and ask for something to eat?
Well, yes, of course. Would you care for some haddock?
Haddock would be wunderbar, thank you.
Golly!
Well, for one thing, they're much prettier than they were 20 years ago.
More free.
Free and easy.
Remember the old-fashioned sort?
All bones and no bends.
My wife!
You could stay here if you wanted.
Well, on second thoughts, that would be very kind.
Can you eat the herring?
I could murder half a dozen right now.
Can you sleep in a box bed?
Well, I could certainly try.
2 and 6.
Oh. There you are.
Sit on a gentleman and be quick about it.
Your daughter?
My wife.
Well done.
Amen.
Amen.
Ah, I just remembered. I forgot to lock the barn. I'll go lock it.
Right. A little bit lower. That's better. Spend it. Woo. What'll happen to you?
Oh, don't worry about me.
I wish I could take you away from all this.
No, this is my home.
What's your name?
Margaret.
Goodbye, Margaret. I'll never forget you for this.
Oh no!
Oh,
There he is! After him!
part of his little finger is missing.
Which little finger?
This one, I think.
Are you sure it wasn't this one?
I'm not sure, I think...
Mr. Hannay, I'm afraid I've been guilty of leading you down the garden path. Or is it up? I never can remember.
It seems to be the wrong garden, all right.
Yes, I'm afraid it does. Mr. Hannay, you forced me into a very difficult position. You see, I live here as a respectable citizen. My very best friend is the sheriff of the county. You must realise that my whole existence could be jeopardised if it became known that I was not... How shall I put it? Not what I seem. You see, there's my wife and daughter to think of. But what makes it doubly important that I can't let you go is that I'm about to convey some very vital information out of the country. Oh yes, I've got it all right. Poor Annabella would have been far too late. So, it seems that there is only one option, Mr. Hannay.
I've got it! I've got it! Of course they don't know anything's missing. It's all in Memory's head. That's why the professor's here, to take memory out of the country.
Yes. Who built St. Paul's Cathedral? Pooh! Sir Christopher Wren built St. Paul's Cathedral. He done it in the year 16...
Sorry to interrupt you, ladies and gentlemen. Richard Arbuthnot Charles Hannay. I am Detective Chief Inspector Albright, sir. New Scotland Yard, sir. I'm arresting you on a charge of murder.
Oh, but you don't understand, Detective Chief Inspector Albright.
I think I do, miss. Now, come along quietly, sir. There's a good chap, sir.
All right, Albright.
He's innocent, I tell you.
Don't worry, Pamela. There's no other way.
Very wise, sir. Now, if you'd just like to come... Oi! Hey, come back here!
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
So that's me, and the sad story of my life. Richard Hannay. Irredeemable, irreclaimable, unreformable.
Utterly horrid and beastly. Poor little orphan boy who never had a chance. This is the man I want, Inspector.
Happy Christmas, darling.
A very mad, unusual family that comes together and does mad things and creates lots of fun.
10 years of getting myself away from my job and enjoying the company of like-minded actors. It's great.
When I retired, I was a drama teacher for most of my life. I worked all over the place. Obviously wanted to keep up my interest in drama. And I spoke to David Derrington, who lives in the same village as I do in Ilmington. And he was just involved in setting up the Bear Pit. And he said, come and have a look at the space that we've got. So I came round to the back of the United Reformed Church, and lo and behold, this wonderful space presented itself, the badminton court. And I said, that's obviously going to make a great theatre space, you know, put a few chairs around the side and theatre in the round, put it end on. If you want to do that, you've got it made. I didn't see it again for 5 years, by which time it had been transformed. And there was proper seating, blocks, proper stage, and it was amazing. But then, subsequently, it developed with backstage dressing rooms, costume, and it seemed like a really organic process that was taking place. Everything was growing when the need arose for it to grow. And it was immensely impressive. And then I was invited to direct one of the shows in Earl Cowdshaw, and then another show after that. And it was a real privilege to work there because the conditions were really professional and continued to be better and better until today, interestingly, when I spoke to David earlier on, he said, come and have a look. We're doing this play in the round now, and look at the seating. And I went in. It's like going into I'm trying to think of which theatre it does go. Oh, I suppose the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield, something like that. But it was a proper theatre in the round, and so of course the whole idea of being associated with a place like this was a great privilege. And the last play I did was Hay Fever, and we had a great cast. And of course, the better the conditions, the more people you attract, and people, really good actors. I don't know why some of them aren't in the professional theatre. So as a director, it's very easy to work with people like that because you basically tell them what you want them to do and they get on and do it, and you've got a show and people say, well done, and it's all to do with them.
You didn't shave this morning.
No, I didn't, but I'm going to in a minute when I finish this.
I sometimes wish we were more normal and bouncing, Simon.
Why?
Well, I should like to be a fresh, open-air girl with a passion for games.
Thank God you're not.
It would be so soothing.
Not in this house.
Are you going to leave that picture in the guest bathroom, dear? Only I don't think it's quite the thing. Lots of pink, naked women all rolling around in a field.
Nudity can be very beautiful, Clara.
Oh, can it? I suppose being a dresser for so long has spoilt me eye for it.
Oh, this is too much. Do you mean to tell me, Simon?
Yes, Mother, I do. I've asked Myra down and I have a perfect right to. You've always brought us up to be free about things.
Myra Arundel is straining freedom to its utmost limits.
Don't you like her?
No, dear, I detest her. She's far too old for you, and she goes about using sex as a sort of shrimping net. I absolutely forbid you to go near the punt.
It's sure to rain anyhow.
What your father will say, I tremble to think. He needs complete quiet to finish off the sinful woman.
I see no reason for there to be any noise unless Sandy, what's his name,
Oh,
is going to
you
shout
are rude
it.
to Sandy. I should be extremely angry.
Why are you all making so much noise?
I think I'm going mad.
Why hasn't Clara brought me my tea?
Oh, I don't know.
Where is Clara?
Do stop firing questions at me, David.
Why are you all so irritable? What's happened?
We must all be very, very kind to everyone.
Now then, Mother, none of that.
I don't know what you mean, Simon.
Well, you were being beautiful and sad.
But I am beautiful and sad.
You're not particularly beautiful, and you never were.
I've tried terribly hard to be landed gentry, but without any real success. I long for excitement and glamour. Oh, think of the thrill of the first night. All those ardent playgoers willing one to succeed. The critics all leaning forward with glowing faces, receptive and exultant, emitting queer little inarticulate noises when some witty line tickles their fancy. The satisfied grunt of the Daily Mail, the abandoned gurgle of the Sunday Times, and the shrill, enthusiastic scream of the Daily Express. Oh, I can distinguish them all. Oh, I must introduce you. This is my daughter Sorrel and my son Simon.
How do you do?
I'm extremely well, thank you. I hope you are too.
So do I.
You must forgive me for having rather peculiar children. Have you got a bag or anything?
Yes, it's in the car.
Oh, better leave it there for the moment, as Clara has to get the tea. We'll find you a room afterwards.
I've been looking forward to this most awfully.
It is nice, isn't it? You can see as far as Marlow on a clear day. So they tell me.
No, I meant I've been looking forward to seeing you.
Oh, how perfectly sweet of you. Would you like a drink?
No thanks. I'm in training.
Oh, how lovely. What for?
I'm boxing again in a couple of weeks.
I must come to your first night.
Myra, this is marvellous.
Simon, dear, it's too
course.
You look beautifully cool.
I'm more than cool, really, but it's not climatic coolness. I've been mentally chilled to the marrow by Judith's attitude.
Why? What did she say?
Well, nothing very much. She was bouncing around on the sofa with a hearty young thing in flannels and seemed to resent my appearance rather.
You mustn't take any notice of Mother.
I try not to, but it's difficult.
She adores you, really.
I'm sure she does.
She's only annoyed today because Father and Sol have been asking people down without telling her.
Poor dear. I quite see why.
You look enchanting.
Thank you, Simon.
Are you pleased to see me?
Of course, that's why I came.
Darling.
Don't shout.
I feel most colossally temperamental. Did you have a nice journey?
Yes, very nice, thank you. I met Miss Corriton at the station. We introduced ourselves while we were waiting for the only taxi to come back.
Oh, I took the only taxi. How maddening of me.
Mrs. Arundel, how do you do? I never recognised you.
I did. Why? Have we met anywhere? No, I mean I recognised you as the one who took the taxi.
You are Sorrel's brother?
Yes, and she'll be down in a minute. Come out into the garden, Myra.
No, Simon, we can't.
Yes, we can. I shall go mad if I stay in this house a moment longer. Tea will be here soon.
Well,
Strange young man.
very rude, I think.
Have you ever met him before?
No, I don't know any of them except Mr. Bliss.
Ah, I wonder if he knows you're here.
Perhaps that funny woman who opened the door will tell him.
Yes, yes. Oh, allow me. It was fortunate we met at the station.
Yes, I'm frightfully glad. I've really been terrified arriving all by myself.
I got this case in Japan. It's pretty, isn't it?
Yes, awfully pretty.
Oh, Richard, I didn't know you were here.
It's been here a good while.
Oh, how awful. Please forgive me. I was upstairs.
This is Miss Corriton.
Oh.
How do you do?
Have you come to see Father?
Yes.
He's up in his study. You better go up.
But I don't know the way.
Oh. Well, I'll take you then. Come along. Wait a minute, Richard. It's along that passage, third door to the right.
Oh, thank you.
Poor girl looks half-witted.
She's shy, I think.
I do hope Father will find her comfort.
Tell me one thing, Sorrel. Did your father and mother know I was coming?
Oh, yes, they were awfully pleased.
Well, a rather nice-looking woman came down in a big hat and went out into the garden with a young man without saying a word.
Oh, yes, that was Mother, I expect. We're a very independent family. We sort of entertain our guests separately.
I see.
It was sweet of you to come.
Oh, I wanted to come. I've thought about you a lot.
Have you really? How thrilling.
Well, I mean it. You're so alive and vital and different from other people.
Simon, come and be nice to Miss Corriton.
Met already.
Well, that's no reason for you not to be nice to her.
How do you do?
How do you do? Are you staying here?
I hope so.
You must forgive me for being rather frowsy, but I've been working hard.
Oh, Father, this is Mr. Gretton.
How are you? When did you get here?
This afternoon.
Have some tea, good. Everyone better put their own milk and sugar in, or we should get muddled. Simon, where's your mother?
She was last seen in the punt.
How extraordinary. She can't punt.
Well, Sandy Tyrrell's with her.
Oh, she'll be all right then. Who's he?
I don't know.
Well, do sit down, everyone.
There's going to be a thunderstorm. I felt sick this morning. Oh, this is Sandy Tyrrell, everybody.
Mother, I want you to meet Mr. Gretton.
Oh, yes. You were here before, weren't you?
Before what?
Before I went out in the punt. And there was somebody else here, too. A fair-haired girl. Oh, there you are. How do you do? Sit down, Sandy. Need anything you want. Give Sandy some bread and butter, Simon.
Here you are. Thanks.
It's a pity about the rain. We might have had some tennis. I adore the style of this hall. It's awfully...
It's huge fun, that's the main thing. That's why we do it. We're amateurs, we don't get paid. But we also derive fun from trying to do it really, really well. Which I hope we do. I hope we succeed at that. It's just a huge, very friendly, and I hope very talented group of people that get together to have a laugh and hopefully give other people a laugh. Yeah.
It's something very, very exciting. People come together doing different projects and expressing themselves and being somebody else. That's always the best thing about acting, is a chance to be somebody other than who you are. And it's just lovely to see it growing and changing and being so varied and so friendly.
Come together and have fun, do the things they're good at.
So I came to Stratford-upon-Avon, like most people do, to go and see the Royal Shakespeare Company. And whilst I was there doing a workshop of theirs, I met Mike Took and Bill Darrington, who sold me on the Bear Pit Theatre. I went there and saw a show at the time and straight away could tell that the atmosphere and the community spirit was what I wanted to be a part of, and I decided to stay.
Ever thought how you'd do less damage if you got pranged up the bumper?
I know from first-hand experience what it's like to be rear-ended.
Do you, Mr. Causeway?
Oh, yes, Tiffany.
So I directed Sex Cells, but it didn't come about in the way that these things usually do. I auditioned for Janice initially because another director was signed on, was unsuccessful, so then I offered to be a stage manager because I already knew the play because it had been performed in Adelaide, South Australia, with Leslie Reed, a dear friend, at the centre. So I knew that it was about motherhood and themes that are really near and dear to my heart. And then David approached me and said, would you like to direct? And I jumped in, did the best that I could, and tried to uphold the standard that the Bear Pit is known for. So once I had been given the play to direct, I reached out to Anna Longaretti and was really quite grateful to receive any acknowledgement or feedback from her, and was able to meet with her in London on a couple of occasions to discuss the play at length and talk to her about my ideas and how I'd like to incorporate them into her play. And she was very open and never shut anything down, never said no to an idea, always let it play out, and it changed throughout the rehearsal process as it does. And we were honoured when she said that she was going to come and see the show.
Aphrodite, a goddess of sexual rapture, how can I help you? The enlarger is very popular item, but then the lust buster vacuum pump is very powerful.
You ever going to want a nipper?
Nah.
Oh, why not? My twin, right, with her too, looks well haggard. And I can't call her after 9 because she's in bed. And since my mate Jack's had a kiddie, we never see her. And she used to love clubbing. And right, in Who's Doing What magazine, they were going on about how Russell Brand and Katy Perry split up, yeah? Well, they split up because he wanted to have kids and she didn't.
Happy birthday to you.
Thank you for the card, Mr. C. It's very witty.
I thought you'd like it. Quack. Well, these orders aren't going to get dispatched themselves, are they?
Almost on time. Oh, happy birthday, Lily. No, I'll have to get you a card in my break because I didn't have any time for it at all this morning. Sorry, love. Sorry, love. Don't bother. You know, I think it's a load of nonsense.
Oh no, you will get one just to prove that I can do it all, as they say in the mags.
It's like that, is it?
Yeah, if I could just drink my coffee in peace at a table, not covered in copy decks, glitter, hundreds of thousands, jam. Still, there's no grimy mitts here, are there? No.
Look, a stupid little clerk just has to make a check that he has ticked every little box. It's a formality. Oh, I can't wait, my time is now.
No one free?
David, well, David is going to notice a £4,000 increase in the bank account, and then there's the interest. That'll accrue.
Oh, I don't want a debate. I don't want to make a justice.
No, I'll take it, shall I?
It's not right, Solveig.
Well, I am not trying to steal it. Oh, please, just ask him.
Right, I'm taking it.
I've
glad you caused a sexual rupture.
I'm very sorry.
Please, don't say no. It is just a phone call. I don't want to ask David. Because he wouldn't approve. Since when do you think of that? I don't care if he agrees.
I think he wanted me to hold his hand. Comfort him. I should have, I know that. I know I should have.
They talk to the face.
What? You heard?
No, it's talk to the hand. You say talk to the hand when you're not listening.
I'm not.
What?
No. My point is, if I mix up my kitchen aid with my sexual aid, you wouldn't know if my fondant fancies were untainted or not, would you?
Well, I've never tasted your fondant fancies. But I have tasted Victoria's sponge.
Oh!
Oh! I suppose you haven't felt one of these in a while, have you?
Oh, put it away, you silly mare.
I am not a mother.
You're her mother.
No, I'm not. I don't know what to do. I don't know what she wants, what she needs. If I was her mother, I would know what to do. I am no good.
It's not automatic, you know. I mean, no matter how motherly a woman is, she doesn't know. She just goes through a checklist and hopes for the best. They can't talk, none of them.
No, this is not a joke.
I know.
But me? Oh, what was I thinking?
I felt like you do. But I was in a state of shock when Alan arrived. I mean, here was this stranger in my arms. And I looked at him and I thought, and I've got to look after you for the next 18 years. I don't even know you.
Please, please don't say these things to make me feel normal.
I'm not saying it's nothing. It's mammoth. If she's lucky, you'll take care of all her needs. Feed her when she needs feeding, change her when she needs changing. But the only thing that really matters is if you can love her.
Thanks for coming. Thank you. We've come to get your signature,
Oh my
please.
God,
on
I'm a
our
bit
script.
My joy.
Used mine a lot. On our,
And you know
they're a
what's
bit
really
wrapped.
odd? I got my script and I saw who was in the original cast, and Jean Perkins is a family friend of mine. Yeah,
She had a
and she was
card,
hoping to come, but it was too far, and she got a card and she said she sends her love.
Oh, how lovely. Oh,
So it was really
Oh, it was marvellous. Thank you for creating. Such a
I'm
good
sorry I
play.
messed up some of the lines.
I'm so sorry. I saw that. I went, oh no, she's here. I'm sorry if I put you on.
So I was in Lilies on the Land, which was a fabulous experience to be able to work with so many women on stage, and I had the best time working for Lindsay Allwork. She challenged me in a way that I'd never previously been challenged as a performer. I was stage managing as well as acting and singing and dancing and playing multiple characters with a number of accents. But when she did cast me, she wasn't aware I was Australian, so I'm not quite sure how that happened. But we're still in touch today. We're very close. To be on stage and feel protected and supported by your cast to that extent, I knew it was something to treasure, and we all really treasure that show. So one thing that I was really excited about was encouraging other young people to get involved in theatre. And with the support of Ginny and Pam, we were able to meet with volunteers on a regular basis, a lot of them being quite young, fresh out of school, and to try and see if theatre is a fit for them and how they can contribute, whether it be backstage in the crew, whether it be shadowing someone who's in a position of authority. I was very lucky to get Emily, who stage managed for Sex Cells, and to see her confidence grow over the time that she was with us was delightful to watch. She started running vocal warm-ups. There were things that she would do just out of initiative that she previously wouldn't have even thought of, and I loved seeing her growth throughout the process as well.
The Bear Pit is very much part of my life as the chairman of the theatre company. I end up looking after the bricks and mortar and everything else that people don't want to do. I enjoy it very much, and I get a terrific buzz out of all the people that come and help here. And I hope it goes on for many, many years yet.
It's almost like a business. It's a continual 12-month of the year business. And apart from the fact I love theatre.
I wrote to Richard Curtis, and Richard Curtis said, yeah, you are more than welcome to produce any of the 6 episodes. So I picked 3 of the episodes that work the best on stage, being Private Planes, being the first episode, and being Goodbye, that final episode, that very upsetting episode where they finally go over the top. And when it came to rehearsing that show, actually even before starting to rehearse that show, everyone came up to me and said, how are you going to do the final scene? You know, how are you going to do it? As we know, they went over the top, it was filmed for television, it was slow motion, there was lots of explosions and smoke, and how are you going to do that in a small space? Well, we did, and it worked really well. And I'm really pleased that we did it in the thrust, so we had audiences sitting either side of the actors, which very much made them feel like that they were in the dugout, that they were in the trench for the actors and for the audience. It was a very simplistic set. We had a number of actors who, in my mind, looked very much like the originals. I think that's something we do very well here at the Bear Pit Theatre, that if we are going to do a stage adaptation of a situation comedy, that the characters and the actors look like the originals. And so Paul Tomlinson was magnificent as Blackadder, Nathan as Baldric, Richard Ball as Darling, and Roger Ganner was tremendous as the Stephen Fry character, General Melchett. And of course we had Justin and Graham and Charlotte doing other cameos, shall we say. But I looked at Private Planes and I thought, that's the episode that will be a nice episode to do. Of course, it's the episode that has Rick Mayall in it. And we auditioned and we looked at people and I thought, no one here has perhaps the charisma or the energy that Rick Mayall brought to that original part. And I'm not asking for a Rick Mayall, because Rick Mayall is Rick Mayall. But we need someone bombastic and exciting and dynamic and thrusty. And that's me. So I cast myself and had a fabulous time doing it. I look nothing like Rick Mayall, but as I'm sure if you've seen any of the production photographs, I grew a healthy ginger moustache, had a fabulous wig to go with it, and a rather interesting uniform, and we did it. It worked really well. And people say you should never direct and act at the same time. Well, why not? I think that's the brilliant thing about amateur dramatics, that you can actually do things that you wouldn't necessarily do or would be able to do in a professional theatre. So you can take on those roles, you can do those things that you wouldn't normally get away with, I suppose. But your audiences are very generous and very kind and very much appreciate what you're doing in front of them. And Blackadder still resonates with me. I directed Dad's Army and I directed Vicar of Dibley. They're 2 shows that I remember very fondly, particularly because they were at the very beginning of our journey here in this building. But Blackadder really hit home at the end of that Goodbye episode, where there was a big debate about, do the actors take a curtain call? In the original episode, those actors disappear and it cuts to a a field of poppies. Well, we've got to do the same. We can't bring the actors back once we've shown the poppy of the poppies, which we projected on the wall. That's it. That's the end of it. And so when the actors disappeared through that plume of smoke, and as they disappeared, I remember Pamela Hickson being on the end of a rather shaky string to release a series of poppies that drifted down onto the spot where the actors were, which obviously then signalled the end of the show. And then it went to birdsong. And it went to a few tears in the audience. And the audience didn't quite know how to react. They're going, well, are they coming back on for a curtain call? Well, what are we doing? And I made it quite clear that no curtain call. There's actually going to be a 2-minute silence. We're going to hear birdsong. We're going to hear birdsong, and the audience are going to sit there. They can go if they want. And every night, you'd stand in that auditorium behind the audience, and you would listen to the audience feel very uncomfortable and trying to work out what's going on, and then you'd hear their brains click into play and go, oh, this realization of this is the 2-minute silence, right? Oh, this is it. People didn't know whether to applaud. It was fascinating. It was almost a social experiment, really, from that point of view. But very, very emotional, and I'm very proud of that show. And I'm very proud that that show was part of the 10th anniversary season of the Bear Pit.
Something's going on. I think I can make an educated guess as to what it is. Something which you, George, would find hard to do.
True. Where I went to school, education could go hand as long as a boy could hit 6, sing the school song very loudly, and take a hot crumpet from behind without blubbing.
Yes. I, on the other hand, am a fully rounded human being, with a degree from the University of Life, a diploma from the School of Hard Knocks, and 3 gold stars from the kindergarten of getting the shit kicked out of me. My instincts lead me to deduce that we're at last about to go over the top. What do you want, darling?
It's Captain Darling to you. General Melchett wants to see you about a highly important secret mission.
What's going on, darling?
Captain Blackadder to see you, sir.
Ah, excellent. Just a short back and sides today, I think.
No, sir. That's Corporal Black, sir. Captain Blackadder is here about the other matter, sir. The secret matter.
Ah, yes, the special mission. At ease, Blackadder. Now, what I'm about to tell you is absolutely tip-top secret. Is that clear?
It is, sir.
Now, I've compiled a list of those with security clearance. Have you got it, darling?
Yes, sir.
Read it, please.
It's top secret, sir. That's all the captain needs to know.
Nonsense. Let's hear the list in full.
Ah. Right, you ready?
Just about, sir. Now, if you'd just pop your clothes on the stool over there.
Sorry?
Just pop your clothes on the stool.
You mean you want me to tackle out?
Well, I would prefer so, sir, yes.
Well, if I can remind you of the realities of battle, George, the first thing that everyone notices is that all the protagonists have their clothes on. Neither we nor the Hun favour fighting our battles au naturel.
Sir, it's artistic license. It's willing suspension of disbelief.
Well, I'm not having anyone staring in disbelief at my willy suspension. Now get on and paint the bloody thing sharpish.
So we're here about the painting, sir.
Ah, yes, of course. Good Lord, George! How the devil are you, my boy? I said, how are you?
Permission to speak?
Absolutely top hole, sir, with yin and yang and a yippity-doo.
Splendid! Your Uncle Bertie sends his regards. I told him you could have a week off in April. Don't want you missing the boat race now, do we?
Permission to speak?
Certainly not, sir. Permission to sing boisterously, sir.
If you must.
Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Belts off, trousers down. Isn't life a scream? Ha!
Gentlemen, the king.
The king.
Where?
Oh, you're right, sir. It says mine. So these mushrooms must belong to the man who made the map.
Either that or we're in the middle of a minefield.
Oh dear. So he owns the field as well.
Oh! Oh! Jumping giblet! Are you sure these are real raisins in this plum duff?
Quite sure, sir. But don't worry, everything will be all right once the cream custard arrives.
Ah.
Right, swooping and diving. Baldrick. Baldrick, what are you doing?
I'm a Sopwith camel, sir.
Ha! Eat knuckles, Fritz! How disgusting! A bosh on the sole of my boot! Ha! I shall probably get shunned in the officer's mess. Sorry about the pong, you fellows. Sorry about the whiff, but couldn't get rid of the whiff.
Yes, do you think we could do without the dispense with the hilarious doggy-doo metaphor for a moment? I am not a Bosch, this is a British trench.
Is it? Oh, that's a bit of luck. I thought I'd landed sausage side. Mind if we use your phone? If word gets out that I'm missing, 10,000 birds will kill themselves. I wouldn't want them on my conscience, not when they ought to be on my face. Let's sit down and talk about how amazingly attractive I am.
Yes, will you excuse me for a moment? I've got some urgent business. There's this bucket outside I've got to be sicking to.
All right, let's get comfy. You look like a decent British bloke. Mind if I park the old booties on you, if that's okay?
Be an honour, my lord.
Of course it would, of course it would. Ever wonder what it's like to have the wind rushing through your hair?
No, sir.
He has. Well, if it isn't Bobby Park, little Bobby Parkhurst, saucier than a direct hit on a Heinz factory.
I've come to pick you up.
Woof! That's how I like my girls. Direct and to my point. Woof! Tally-ho then, back to the bar. You should join the Royal Flying Corps. That's the way to fight a war, George. Tasty tuck, soft beds, and a uniform so smart that it's got a PhD from Cambridge. You can even bring the breath monster here. Anyone can be a navigator as long as he can tell his arse from his elbow.
Well, that's Baldrick out, I fear.
What's the scale of this map, darling?
1 to 1, sir.
Come again.
The map is of actual life size, sir. It is superbly detailed. Look. A little worm.
Oh, yes. So the amount of land retaken actually is...
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. 17 square feet, sir.
Excellent! So, this is indeed an honour. The two greatest gentlemen flyers in the world meet. Two men of honour who have jousted in the cloud-strewn glorious skies, face to face at last. How often I have rehearsed this moment of destiny in my dreams, the panoply to encapsulate the unspoken nobility of my comradeship! What a poof! Come on!
A postal order for 10 shillings.
Oh, no, sorry, that's my godson's wedding present. Here.
Oh, no, sir. This is a commission for the front line, sir.
Yes.
The guns have stopped because we're about to attack. Not even our generals are mad enough to shell their own men. They think it's far more sporting to let the Germans do it.
You mean we are in fact going over? This is, as they say, it.
I'm afraid so. Unless I can think of something very quickly.
What does the bear pit mean to you, Steve?
I love and admire David Mears. I always have done. He's a comic genius, a genius in every way. I would follow the man over a cliff if he decided that it was a good idea for us to go over a cliff. That's the reason why I love the bear pit, because I love David Mears.
And there you have it, folks.
There is threats of doing a stage adaptation of Terry and June, and Are You Being Served? But I can't confirm those rumours.
You just did.